Up on here. Okay, what's going on out there? Alex Will 64. Thank you for watching the videos. I want to start out by saying ether-ins.teachable.com. Those courses are available. Alchemy of the Isis Thesis, Doth Star Legacy Suite course, all of that's available at my website. You'll get all the links of that in the description below. And if you notice, you know what I'm saying? Some of y'all may know this, some of y'all may not. You know what I'm saying? You see my shirt? $5. Now, what am I showing you? Now, if you look at the title of this video, you know what's up. Because I was once a kid. In the South, it's called a jit. So if I'm gonna say jit for now on. For those of you that don't know or are not familiar with Southern dialect, Black Southern dialect, or Southern Ebonics, if you're a kid or a child, you're known as a jit. All right. So let's get that established. So when I was a jit, I used to watch stuff like this: Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, some of the other stuff. I was never into Naruto. I never watched Naruto like that. Haven't gotten to that one yet. Death Note. I was actually an adult when I watched that one. Attack on Titan. Full Metal Alchemist. What am I talking about? We're talking about Japanese cartoons, also known as anime. So what we're about to explore here is my childhood anime Ghost Files. Because as much as you want to say it's about jits and children, there's a lot of adult themes in these cartoons and animations. Yes. Did you notice? Like as an adult now, if you're an adult watching this, hopefully you are, because you ain't about to sit here and say get me in trouble with my YouTube for watching this stuff. Like go talk to your mom and dad or whatever, or your legal guardian before watching this. But now that I'm older and going back and to see some of these cartoons, and it ain't just anime cartoons. I mean, it's cartoons from all around the world. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, once you're older, and it's just like any movie or anything you watch as a child, and now that you're older, you're an adult, and then you go back and watch this stuff. Is like, whoa, I didn't notice that. I didn't see that in there before. Oh, they actually. Oh, okay, they put some stuff in there that you didn't know as a kid. Now that you've had some adult experiences, you gotta pay bills, you gotta pay a cell phone. You know what I'm saying? You done had a few breakups with a few lovers. What else? You done experienced, a pandemic, or when life hits you. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you want to go back into your childhood and see, like, what are those things that made me happy? What are those things that I enjoyed when I was a jit, when I was a little youngster, when I was a whippersnapper? For me, and for maybe you watching this, anime was that thing that I was into. You know about Toonami and the whole Adult Swim and all that stuff. Remember that on Cartoon Network when you was a little kid? Or when you was younger in your years, back in the 90s? You know what I'm saying? You can tell what my favorite anime is. This is the Yu Yu Hakusho shirt. A Yu Yu Hakusho shirt with Team Urameshi on it. So you got Yusuke Urameshi, you got Kazuma Kuwabara, you got Hiei at the bottom, and then over here you got he has many names. So let's just call him Kurama. So that I was a fan of this stuff as a kid. You know what I'm saying? Your Pokemons, your Yu-Gi-Ohs, your Dragon Ball Z. Wasn't you watching that as a kid before you went to school? I was late from my bus stop sometimes watching Dragon Ball Z in the morning. I don't care if I got a beating. I'm about to watch Dragon Ball. You know what I'm saying? Would you risk that if you was gonna get like an ass whooping if you ain't get on that bus in the morning? Because I remember back in the '90s, they used to show Dragon Ball Z in the morning. So I was like, nigga, I'll just have to take that ass whooping, you know what I'm saying, later in the day. Because I want to see what's going on with Goku and Vegeta fighting Majin Buu and you know what I'm saying? In the Cell games or whatever. I want to see that. Because you learn a lot from that, you know what I'm saying? There's learning stuff from these shows. And we're going to get into that because now that I'm, you know what I'm saying, I'm in my 30s, you know what I'm saying? I may be too old for this stuff, but maybe not. Because once you get into this whole anime stuff, you're going to see a lot of occult mysticism, a lot of references to chakras and demons and spirit realms and clip off, and all that is in these anime cartoons. And you know this if you watching. Cause I go on Facebook and they got a whole Yu Yu Hakusho fan page or whatever, and a lot of these people on there don't really look into like the more supernatural or mystical or esoteric or occult side of these cartoons, and it revolves around that. Like for example, Yu Yu Hakusho. I mean, three of these characters come from demons. You know what I'm saying? So you sitting here watching a show about demons, but you don't care nothing about the occult. Like you don't want to explore it further. So now that I'm in my mid 30s or approaching my mid 30s, I'm like I'm revisiting these anime shows and seeing what can I extract from it. Like, are they revealing some occult stuff? Like, are they revealing some esoteric things that I ain't have to look in a book to see until I decide that I want to study it further? Like for example, again, Yu Yu Hakusho, you got humans or whatever, or you got demons going back and forth from what they call Earth world, world, spirit world, hell. They even got like a limbo or hell or whatever, depending on if you watching the Japanese sub or dub, depending on that. That's an interesting thing that they put in this kids show. Demons and stuff. Now, one of the things like with Yu Yu Hakusho, like I've did some research on that to find out that the what's his name, Yoshihiro Tagashi, the Japanese animator or illustrator or comic book or manga. Manga is the word for Japanese comic books or whatever. They call it manga. So he studied a lot of like supernatural stuff. He studied the occult before coming up with this show or this manga, this Yu Yu Hakusho franchise. He studied the occult. And you can tell his research shines in the storyline of that anime. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, yo, let's study this stuff. This is what your kids are watching. If not that particular anime, they definitely watching Naruto. They definitely watching what's it called? Hunter x Hunter, which the guy who created Hunter x Hunter or Hunter x Hunter is the same guy that created Yu Yu Hakusho. Now, before I go any further, I know you may be a big fan of these Japanese cartoons or anime. I know you're a big fan. I know this. You probably know stuff about this stuff that I don't know. I probably know some stuff about this you don't know. Please don't be in the comment section on my video talking about what I missed or what I did not get right. This is an open discussion. I'm going to do several of these videos because there's so much of this occult stuff in anime that, it's going to span across or span beyond this video. And so we can do multiple ones. So if I botched anything or you feel I didn't get anything right about your favorite anime, please don't be in my comment section trying to correct me or trying to, tell me I don't know the show or whatever. I done watched this show at least 3 times. I never read the manga, so for those of you that like to, you think the manga is better than the animated cartoon, by all means, you can have that opinion. For those of you that want to argue about should a Japanese anime be watched in its original language, or should it be dubbed to English, or should there be subtitles or whatever, again, we don't need to have that argument. We're just talking about the esoteric side of these Japanese cartoons known as anime. Now, for example, Pokemon is known to be the biggest franchise in history at this point. And we talking about any type of franchise, even it's bigger than Star Wars. It's bigger than Dragon Ball Z. It's bigger than that. The Pokemon stuff, the little pocket monsters, gotta catch them all. You know what I'm talking about. Don't act stupid. Now, here's the occult side of that, and I'm gonna just throw it at you. I'm gonna throw it right in your face. How does Pokemon relate to demonology? Well, first of all, the fact that you are catching these creatures in a ball, And we know in demonology and dealing with Goetia, you can catch a demon by putting a circle on the ground or whatever surface you're dealing with, and you could trap the demon within the circle. So in the Pokemon world, you can catch the Pokemon or Pocket Monster, which is, Pokemon is a mashup of Pocket and Monster. You're putting that together. So you're catching the Pocket Monster with a ball. So instead of it being a circle, you're catching it with a sphere. Now, once you catch it, now you can make it do whatever you want it to do. You can make it battle other monsters. You can use certain monsters to fly you to different cities. You know what I'm saying? You can use, if they're water inclined, you can use these monsters to help you surf across water. You know the games or the cards or the show. You know what I'm talking about, right? And it's not so surprising that a lot of these Christian church figures or these religious people all across the world are saying that Pokemon is evil. And they have a point because it's kind of based on the whole thing of demonology. Because how else do you catch a demon, right? You use that circle, don't you? And you put its name in the circle. So once you know the demon's name and you can put it in that circle, the demon is now trapped. It has to do what you say. It has to follow your bit or do your bidding. You do all that in the Pokemon, don't you? You make them fight. There's this whole organization in the game called Team Rocket, and they abuse the Pokemon. They make them do stuff they don't want to do. Make them probably, do some lewd acts. I don't know what Team Rocket does to that. I'm going back to my childhood. Excuse me, when I was a jit. So there goes that demonology element. You know what I'm saying? You catch the demon, and then you make the demon go do what you want it to do. That's the occult side of the Pokemons. But this is in your kids show. I've been watching that Pokemon shit since the not the early 90s, it didn't come out. The late 90s. I had the game, I had the Pokemon cards, you know what I'm saying? I remember someone stole my Pokemon cards when we was in the school bathroom. I remember someone stole I had like he ripped the Alakazam. No, that wasn't the story. I let him hold the card. You remember some of these cards had like a shiny film over it, is holographic. I let him hold the card. He said, "Ooh, that's hot," and then ran out the bathroom with my card. I was traumatized by that event. I was so traumatized in my face that when I went to my next class, because we was in middle school, the teacher that said we ain't even allowed to have them, he felt sorry for me that someone stole my Pokemon card. So that's how serious this Pokemon shit was, and definitely in the late 90s, early 2000s. You know what I'm saying? Um, what else? And like I said, there's a lot of mythology within the whole Pokemon thing. Like there's Jewish mythology, there's Greek mythology, there's obviously references to occult figures. Baphomet, like the whole Alakazam Pokemon, he looks just like Baphomet. There's a lot of that in there. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of that. Even Dragon Ball Z, like how you're going to heaven to train to fight monster or villains that want to, destroy the world or take over the world or whatever. How you get the 7 Dragon Balls, like this is simple shit. Like just with the whole thing with the 7 Dragon Balls, what would you automatically relate that to? 7 chakras, right? It's easy. And then you have a dragon or some sort of serpent that comes out of the balls once you collect all 7 Dragon Balls. That's a reference to the chakras. You know that. And then once you get this, you go on this quest across, the world to get the Dragon Balls, and then you put them together, and then the dragon Shenron comes out, and then you make a wish with the dragon. And the dragon grants you the wish, and then after the wish is granted, the balls scatter back in all places of the world for the search to begin again if you want to get them again. You see what I'm saying? That's some chakra stuff. You know what I'm saying? For you chakra enthusiasts, you should know that. 7 Dragon Balls, 7 chakras. A dragon comes out. What else? Yu-Gi-Oh! For those of you that love Egypt, You like Egyptology, you like Kemet, you like Haru. Like some of y'all women got the Haru tattoo. Like you got the I see it on a lot of them. You have the Mayat or the Isis with the wings and it's right up under your breasts. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm talking about. So if you into like that whole Egyptian thing, well, you got Yu-Gi-Oh, where it's a card game based on the monsters back in those times of ancient Kemet, I guess. You know what I'm saying? And you have dragons, monsters, gods, and whatever. You got my favorite, which is the Exodia, which is the forbidden one. So if you get the 5 cards, the game is automatically over. You automatically win the game, and that's based on the Osiris or the Asar myth, where Asar's body is chopped up into 14 pieces and scattered. So his wife Isis or Aset has to collect all his pieces and put them back together again. They do the same thing with the Exodia. You get all 5 cards, which is arm, leg, arm, head. For those of you that are into the Islam thing or the 5% Nation, where they do that arm, leg, arm, head, which spells Allah. And then you put that together, and then you automatically win the card game. But isn't it kind of similar to that Pokemon thing where you can summon a monster by putting a card down, right? Like for those of you that into tarot decks and oracle decks, I don't really know the difference. Please don't tell me. I don't care. But you have these creatures or these mythical people, like Hierophant or a magician, empress or whatever. And now in this card game of Yu-Gi-Oh, you can utilize these cards and make them do stuff just like how you can make Pokemon do stuff. And again, it's so Egyptian, it's so Kemetic, it's so Egyptological. You know what I'm saying? If you into that stuff. I know I was into it when I was watching Yu-Gi-Oh! You know what I'm saying? I had the video game or whatever. You know what I mean? And again, this is all about searching for those esoteric occult features that are in these cartoons. Not just anime, but definitely this is the focus of it in this video. You know what I mean? The Death Note, have you seen that? You know what I'm saying? On Netflix, they have it on Netflix. Death Note, where this I guess this scholarly kid in high school, he happens to come across a book that if he writes the name of people and he visualizes their image while writing the name in the Death Note, it kills them. So if he ain't like you from like the first grade, he can put your name in the book and visualize your image, and then like maybe 45 seconds later, you drop dead. He can even sit here and describe how you're gonna die and when you're gonna die in the book. So maybe he don't want to give you a heart attack. He want to be a little bit gruesome with it. Like he wants you to die by throwing yourself in a wood shredder. He can do that with that book. And he deals with a particular set of spirits known as the Shinigami, the death spirits from Japan, which isn't exclusive to Japan, might I add here, but it's the whole thing of dealing with these Shinigami, these death spirits or death gods that kind of guide you and give you the rules of this mythical or occult death note. So they tell you like, all the rules of you writing people's names in there and killing them. You think that's just totally fictional? I would ask you that. Like not even just with that show. Like, do you think these things that you see in these anime shows, you know what I'm saying? It's not limited to the anime shows, but since we're dealing with anime, you think that some of that you think those things aren't based on some sort of fact or reality? You think it's just all fictional, right? Like there's nothing to it? Because I just told you the guy that created Yu Yu Hakusho in the Hunter x Hunter anime, he you can research this like he studied the occult. He studied it enough where I'm looking at the show, I'm like, oh, okay. He knows some stuff. You know what I mean? That whole thing, in the show, right, where Yusuke, which is the this guy right here, he's the main character of this show. Yusuke and Kuwabara, which is his best friend, They are going through this spiritual test to learn from Genkai, which is one of the masters of the show. And one of the tests is that they have to run through the woods and survive these woods. But in these woods is some very shady and dark spirits that they have to overcome in order to get out of the woods. And if you get out of the woods, you pass the test. Now look who's in the woods. A bat character. So what bat character or what bat entity you know is be in the woods? Ever heard of Sasaban-san or Asan-ban-san? So what is Sasaban-san doing in a Japanese anime cartoon? What is it doing there? This is adult level stuff, but it's in a Japanese Shonen Jump type of manga cartoon though. And you ain't even look into it. You don't even study that. You didn't even know what I was talking about before I said Sasabansen. Like if you know about Obai or Obi, this cartoon sits here and shows you a bat creature hanging upside down in the woods. But I'm talking crazy, right? Like I don't know what I'm saying. Like it's not valid for me to come here and speak about the anime, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, do you look deeper into the things you watch? Not just the anime, but the movies, the other, the American cartoons. Like, do you look into that stuff and see that? Do you? I don't know. One Punch Man, which is saying something that I'm done gotten into this year. You know what I'm saying? I remember seeing something. I was trying to watch it a few years ago, but I didn't get into it. But what's going on, Dreamwise? What's going on? I wanted to thank you one more time for that interview, man. Thank you a lot. But anyway, what was I touching on? Getting back to One Punch Man. I'm into the One Punch Man now. The bald guy, and he looks, dumb in the face. But this nigga is the strongest. He the strongest character in the show. Nobody can beat him. All it takes is one punch to lay you out or make you explode or destroy you. But it's funny. It's like a comedy show. Like he always wins his fights. Like he never loses. Like he's too strong. He's stupid strong. You know what I'm saying? And here's the science behind that though. Because like I said, this is fictional to say like, oh, he can just punch anything and anything explode. Like there's nothing that could beat him. But here's the science behind that. If you want to call it that. He broke what is called his limiter. He broke his limiter. So in that show or in that mythology of that show, each creature has what is called a limiter. And it's this force within you that keeps you from growing too powerful or too strong or growing out of proportion. So that means you grow within a way that is, logical to the physical realm, right? Like you don't overgrow, you don't become too powerful, like you're within limits. It's called a limiter. This Saitama, the One Punch Man, he broke his limiter. So, and upon breaking his limiter, now he's unlimited power. He just keeps growing and growing in strength and power. So there's nothing in existence that can kill him or destroy him. And on the flip side, he can kill or destroy anything with one punch. So what if you went on a journey to break your limiter? Is that something that's possible? I asked you that. I'm trying to figure it out because it's fiction on the surface, right? You watch these movies and TV shows, and you're like, that's they're just making stuff up. That just come out of their imagination, and that's not real. But again, the principles in it are very real. Because if you break your limiter, then who can defeat you? Who can destroy you? So I'm like, well, is there any truth to this? Is there anything I can study or deal with where I can break my limiter too? And just on the screen here, I got a notification from One Punch Man, the Strongest, which is an app that deals with that whole. It just you see that? You see how that works? Let's get back to Dragon Ball Z. That's probably the most common anime after the whole Pokemon thing, right? Everybody know Dragon Ball Z. Vegeta, Goku, Piccolo. Who else? Gohan, Gotenks, Trunks. You know what I'm saying? Frieza, Cell, Majin Buu, Kid Buu, Ugly Buu, Black Buu, Peekaboo. Oh, you got all these different versions of Buu in there. So deal with Majin Buu. He's one of my favorite characters in Dragon Ball Z. Because a lot of people don't like the Majin Buu saga. Because in Dragon Ball Z, you have the story is separated into these sagas. So for each saga, there's a main villain that they have to defeat. So when you get to Dragon Ball Z, they also have the regular Dragon Ball show, which is based on a journey to the West, tale from like China or something like that. But when you get into Dragon Ball Z, that's when you go up against or they have Frieza, Cell, Majin Buu, or whatever. And then they have the whole GT and the Dragon Ball Super. I ain't really watch all that. But Dragon Ball Z from the 90s, yes. So they have Frieza, Cell, and Buu as the main three villains. But I like Majin Buu. See, the thing about Majin Buu is they think that Bibbidi Bibbidi created Buu. But nah, Bibbidi did not create Buu. See, Buu is millions of years old. So all Bibbidi, who's the wizard he's a wizard that wakes Buu up. He never creates Buu. See, you don't know what I'm talking about unless you watch Dragon Ball. So Buu is millions and millions of years old. So when you wake up Buu, it's time to destroy the universe. He's like a Mahakala. He's like the ultimate Shiva. He destroys everything. He's a force of not even nature, a force of supernature. When you release Buu, it's time for this whole physical world, and maybe even worlds above it, to end. And I wonder, is that something that you have inside of you and I have inside of myself? How would you get there? How would you get into that? Is that something that should be done? Or like also in Dragon Ball Z, they have this thing called the what is it? The hyperbolic time chamber, if I'm saying it right, or hyperbolic chamber, where you can go in this chamber and train for, I don't know, weeks or months, but from on the outside, you've only been in there for like an hour. How is that possible? Like for somebody that was standing outside of the chamber, you went in there and you came out, and to them, you've been in there for only an hour, and for you, you've been in there for like 8 months. How is that possible? So they done messed up the time or whatever. They done got into a space where time speeds up. So I don't know if you're into, chronology or chronicity, where you study time and, the nature of time and, how time works, and is it an illusion or is it something your mind creates and, structures your physical to abide to or adhere to? Yu Yu Hakusho. So for those of y'all that like Reiki, you like laying the hands on people, like you heal people with Reiki and stuff. Like, I don't know how some of y'all studied the Reiki. I would love to see a demonstration of the Reiki. Show me how Reiki works. But in the show Yu Yu Hakusho, they tell you how it works. So Yusuke, which is this guy right here, he learns the spirit gun. So he can blast people or blast things from out of his spirit and directing his gun, like pow, 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 like right through your dome piece, right? So he, in many ways, turned himself into a human weapon or spiritual weapon. Can you shoot your spirit at people? Have you done that before? Is it work? Did it work? Like you can focus your what do you call it? Prana, chi. What do you call it? Your ashe. Some of us call it obi. Like you can focus that and shoot it, pew pew, and cause destruction. That's interesting to me. Now in the Japanese, they call it Reiki. They call it Reiki. So I'm like, okay, you got these mostly it's mostly women that know this stuff in the conscious community or whatever. They say they know Reiki, right? Now I am looking at a fictional TV show, but I'm saying though, is the principles in with the Reiki that they're doing, is that something I should know? Would I be ahead of my Reiki peers if I, you know, use that and shot that? Like, you know what I mean? Oh, let me see what y'all wrote here. I see y'all writing stuff. Said Yoko Kurama is the best character. Um, let's agree to disagree. I'm not saying he talking about this character right here, Yoko Kurama, which when he turns into the fox, the Kitsune, right? Because that's Yoko Kurama when this character right here when he turns into his fox form, which is his original form, and he becomes like this real dangerous, badass plant. You know what I'm saying? You know, people that deal with herbs and herbology and plants is this guy. So I mean, my favorite character is going to be Yusuke. You know what I'm saying? He the funniest dude in the show. But I mean, I can see how you would like him. A lot of people like Hiei though, or they like Korobara. You know what I'm saying? What else y'all wrote? He said it's that psi energy. Yeah, so there's different names for this power you can use. It's not just shooting it. You can do anything, any type of thing you can think of with it. But if you're going to be a dullard and watch these shows and you just want to deal with the entertainment value of it and not look into it, you know what I'm saying? This is what I'm trying to say, like the esoteric and the occult side of these shows. You know what I mean? Because I already mentioned with the Pokemon, that's a form of demonology. Because again, you're catching it with a ball or a circle, and then you're making it do what you want it to do. So if I can make if I had Pokemon and it was real, I can make my Pokemon bite your arm off. Like if I wanted to, it would do my will, my bidding. Just like a demon. Like there's people in the occult that they'll send demons at you or something. You know what I mean? Or do some curses. Some demons are oracular, some demons are operative. So, for example, an oracular demon is a demon that just tells you stuff, like it gives you information or secret information about something. But an operative demon is a demon that does work, that you employ it to go do something. You know what I'm saying? So again, your Pokemon is the same thing. That's why again, some of these religious figures are out here talking about Pokemon is demonic and it's evil. You know what I'm saying? And they got a point though. Cause I ain't even see that. Like even when I was in the occult, like me first getting into it, I didn't even make that connection that like when you go to the Pokemon thing, they're doing that. They're doing exactly what a demonologist or a sorcerer would do. But the reason I got into Pokemon, it wasn't a bad like I got into Pokemon because I was naturally into animals. Because I used to have like this encyclopedia, and this encyclopedia had one of the volumes had nothing but information on animals. So when Pokemon came out, I was like, oh shit, this is just an extension of, me being a zoologist or whatever. What else? Throw some anime titles at me. I haven't watched every anime that has come out, so let's again, never did that. So Naruto, I don't really know about that show. I know they do some ninja shit with a little headband. I don't. That's all I know about that show. Full Metal Alchemist, one of my other favorite shows. So I'm gonna circle back to watching that too, because what do I claim 24/7? That I do alchemy. That I'm a true practicing disciplined alchemist. I do this. So now, like I said, they have this cartoon. I'm not sure is Brotherhood like a updated version of that because I know they have Full Metal Alchemist and then they have Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. So I'm not totally sure like what's the difference. You can tell me in the comments. Like correct what I said earlier was I don't want you in my comment section like trying to get all mad because I don't like a character you like or haven't watched the anime that you watched or I said something a little slightly you didn't like what I said about the anime that you like. But be in the comments and tell us, all of us here. I want this to be a community effort. tell us in your anime that you watch, what are some of the secretive, occult, esoteric things about that anime? Because I done sat here and told in this 35 minutes, like I just told you some of the stuff I seen and some of the stuff I noticed. You know what I'm saying? One Piece. Okay, that's I only watched maybe like the first two episodes of One Piece. I don't know if you're familiar with what's his name, Long Beach Griffey. He's a guy that always, um, he's always like promoting One Piece, like watch One Piece. And I know One Piece is about pirates and stuff. Like they have this thing about pirates or whatever. So I got to get into that. What's the main character name? Luffy? Luffy. That's all I know. Luffy, and then there's a clown pirate, and that's all I know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I know Luffy is looking for the One Piece, I guess, to give him power. I'm not totally sure. Let me see what y'all wrote. You said the real version is Brotherhood. Okay, well, I'm gonna make sure I get back into Brotherhood because I know I was watching. That show is kind of effed up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? The girl and the dog. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen the show. But I'm gonna get back into that. And in that show, they deal with the real, precepts or concepts that you get out of, especially medieval alchemy and the Full Metal Alchemist. What's his name? Elric? I forgot. The two brothers, and they travel around because they're trying to find out a way, I guess, to bring their mother back. If I'm not, because I know one of the brothers, like when they was fooling around with alchemy, and um, I think his soul got taken out of his body, and then they did something to put his soul into this like metallic machine armor. You know what I'm talking about. If you know that. Attack on Titan. I seen that show. People hype that show up too much. I didn't. Maybe I gotta go back and watch it. I it, I just didn't like. I didn't get into that show. Maybe I gotta tell me something about Attack on Titan that I should be watching. Like what's the special flair or you know what I'm saying, the specialness of Attack on Titan, so that I can, after I see what you're saying, then I'll give it another shot. Because all I seen was a bunch of people just trying to fight off these giants that eat people. You know what I'm saying? That's all I saw. I don't know if there's any more to that, but Cowboy Bebop, that's another one. I think out of Cowboy Bebop and Yu Yu Hakusho, they kind of tie for having the best soundtrack. I think I got to give it to Yu Yu Hakusho. They got the best music. Is there any anime shows that have real good music? You know what I'm saying? Because I find myself listening to this music even when I'm not watching the show. Like I'll listen to it when I'm meditating, or if I, say I'm driving. I listen to it like I would listen to a rap album. They got the best soundtrack. Cowboy Bebop, like that's an anime that's a little bit more mature. Like is it as flashy as like a Pokemon or a Yu-Gi-Oh? Like it's a little bit more subdued and is more for the adult crowd. I think it came out first, like in the Americas, through Adult Swim. Because I don't know if y'all moms and dads let y'all watch stuff that late at night. I know my moms and dad, they ain't care, what we watch. So I didn't know if y'all had like a little bedtime or whatever. Y'all was censored and stuff. I was allowed to watch all the sex scenes and all the fighting scenes and movies and all that. I turned out pretty good. I'm not a deviant or nothing like that. Like I'm not a criminal or nothing like that. I turned out pretty good. And we have to also, and I have to mention it here, when they start trying to adapt these anime works into live action, horrible idea, horrible shit. And they're even going to make a live action Yu Yu Hakusho on Netflix, because that's really the Netflix them are the criminals here. Because I don't know if you've seen Death Note, the movie, like the live action. That was horrible, terrible, terrible. That was nauseating. They made L a black guy. Like, what are we doing here? And I know it's a lot of white people that like to watch this stuff and get mad because, they changed the character's ethnicity or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like they made someone black or they made them white or whatever. The whole whitewashing thing with Ghost in the Shell. So some of y'all don't know about Ghost in the Shell or these OVA anime. We're gonna get into the OVA anime, but they had Scarlett Johansson as the girl, the main female character in why y'all letting them do this to these animes? I blame y'all because y'all be like, oh, we want to see a movie, we want to see a cinematic production, and then they destroy it. Well, technically they don't destroy it. It's just that abomination that we don't mention anymore except to laugh at it and poke fun. But you said Alphonse and Edward Elric. Okay, yeah. That's you bringing the memories back. Said, peace, God. I love all the same shows. Cool. Because that's what I'm saying. We're focusing on the more esoteric and occult side of this stuff that you may have missed when you was watching it as a kid or whatever. You know what I mean? Say, I highly recommend you the anime Monster by Naoki Urasawa. It's really something else. Okay, let me write that down. I'm gonna write that down. It's Monster by Naoki Urasawa. Okay. But yeah, man, like I still watch this stuff. Like One Punch Man, I still watch that. You know what I mean? They're supposed to be coming out. If you don't know, they're supposed to be coming out with the season 3 of One Punch Man. Now let me go back to Yu Yu Hakusho because it's important. There's a saga that's very important, especially when it comes to like the occult and saying the whole chaos being thing and the whole that's that type of thing, right? Shinobu Sensui. The nigga with the dot in the middle of his forehead. He want to kill all humanity. You know what I'm saying? He want to open the gates of demon world and let all the I think it was that B class or A class demons he wanted into. I forgot. He wanted to destroy the barrier between Earth realm or Earth world and the demon world, so that all the demons that are capable of crossing over would come into Earth world and kill and eat all the humans. So he wanted to cause what we would call an apocalypse or an Armageddon. You know what I'm saying? And the reason he wanted to do it is because, just to keep it simple, he found this tape called the Chapter Black tape. So this tape is like a video cassette tape, like from the 90s, like the black tape that you put into a VCR. You don't know what a VCR is? You too young to be messing with me. You don't know what a VCR is. But he had this black tape that has all the crimes and the catastrophes and the nastiness of what humans have done over history. So and it has hours and hours and hours of footage on humans doing very nasty, demonic, genocidal, rapey type stuff all across history. So after he watched that movie or that footage, and we talking about 10, 20 hours of it, or maybe even more, he said, you know what? Humans need to be extinct. They are some of the nastiest, vicious creatures on this planet, and they need to be dealt with. So he said, I'm going to open the gates of Demon World and send these creatures in here to wipe out the human race. So he was on some chaos in the world, it's over type stuff. You know what I'm saying? And he recruited, other people who had psychic abilities. And, he had them watch the movie or the footage, and then it turned him. So they were trying to make it seem like he was like a cult leader. Like, and then, the people that joined him were under his cult or his spell or whatever, or his influence. So I guess that whole thing was about, you know, the danger of joining cults or whatever, like the David Koresh thing or the Jim Jones thing or whatever. So I got to ask you, do you feel humanity should be destroyed? Because that's what, since we was on, he was like, humans have to be eradicated. So obviously, you know, the Team Urameshi had to go in and stop him or whatever. But, you know, this is stuff that's in the anime. And I appreciate it because it's for me, Yu Yu Hakusho isn't an anime to me. Like it doesn't come off like an anime. Like, yeah, it's animated, but it has like these themes and story beats where it's like, nah, this is more like a real life situation to me, rather than it being some cartoonish fictional anime. Now, let me see what y'all wrote. He said he's split into yeah, and that's the other thing about Sensui. He has like 7 personalities, so he's like split. You know, that whole M. Night Shyamalan shit. Like he got like 7 different people in one body. What's good, D Banks? What's going on? Oh, Devilman, Crybaby. Ooh, you need to be on Netflix for that one. Devilman, Crybaby. But me, I like the original OVA from the 80s. I'm gonna make another video where we talk about nothing but Japanese OVA. OVA means what does it mean? Original. I forgot the what is it? Somebody look that up for me. OVA. I think it's original video animation. I think. It's the series of anime that was sent straight to video instead of being broadcast on public television in Japan. And it's a lot of nasty. If you into nastiness like me, it's a lot of nasty shows. Is real pornographic. Oh, you'd love it if you like porn. You love those cartoons if you like porn. Yeah, original anime or hold on. I know it's OVA, so I think it's original. Hold on, you gotta look that up. I don't think that's the right one. Look that up for me, somebody. Devilman. You gotta watch the Devilman movie from the 80s. Because I know the one that they made for Netflix, the Crybaby version. That's good. I like that. I like that they were able to like complete the story because it is based on like a manga, you know what I'm saying? Or um, a Japanese comics or whatever. But Devilman, let me tell you about Devilman. Let me take a drink. Hold on. Devilman. Because Devilman one of my favorites. Now, Devilman, I don't know if we should go there with Devilman. Have you seen Devilman? This is a dude who he did something with the Rio dude, and he was able to summon Amon, which is, I guess, one of the most powerful demons that exists. And he became a fused hybrid creature with the Amon. Now, what was I just talking about in my previous video? Check out the video before this one. Check it out. Check that out. Because again, they're revealing some real occult, esoteric, initiatic type information in these shows, and it be just flying across your head, and you're like you don't. It just flew across your head, like you don't know what they just showed you in the show. They might as well have just told you that this is how you do this. You know what I'm saying? But that's Devilman Crybaby for you. But again, go watch the one from the 80s where they have the Devilman, and then they have the one where he's fighting that bird woman. Because after that, I don't think they ever did anything with it in the 80s, but they brought that back for Devilman Crybaby. Have you seen like different ones like what's it called? Ninja Scroll, um, Legend of the Overfiend, Demon City. What's it called? Demon City Shunjuku or something like that. Something like that. Vampire Hunter D. See, y'all, some of y'all don't know about these. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't know about those. Mad Jack. You don't know about those. We'll do those in a separate video. But let's just deal with the ones that you probably do know. What else? I already did Death Note. I already talked about Death Note. What's the other one? What's some other ones? I know I'm forgetting something. Nobody watches Digimon, so I ain't gonna say Digimon. You know, or we could go back to Yu-Gi-Oh. Like Yu-Gi-Oh has the Egyptian god cards. You know what I'm saying? The 3 god cards. So you got a card game where you can summon a Egyptian god creature or whatever the fuck it is. You know what I'm saying? You must not know the magic of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So y'all be into the tarot and the oracle decks. Like, nah, we deal with the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, nigga. You can divine with these things. To you, it's just a little card game with the little white boy. And nah, we dealing with some stuff over here. Hold on, let me see what y'all wrote. Said it seems like so often, other than anti-hero stories, they always make the main characters that you connect with are trying to protect the mundane conformist mentality, which is vexing to me. Well, even so, because I know what you're talking about, but even so, there's still things to extract from the story. Because I know they're trying to protect the humanity. It's always about trying to protect humanity. Even in this show, they always trying to protect humans. But what I do like about Yu Yu Hakusho though is that this nigga right here, he gets to a point where it's like, man, I don't care if human, I don't care. He gets to a point where he don't care. Especially when he gets with Ryzen, his ancestral father, and you know these demons eat people, and he was like, hey, I'll feed you some humans if you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll go back to Earthrealm and collect some bad humans and then hand them over to you for you to eat. Because, spoiler alert, he's half demon, or he has demon blood in his ancestry. Spoiler alert, you should have watched the show. It came out in the 90s. He got demon blood in him. This guy right here. So let me give you the map. So demon, but we can I'm gonna hit you with a theory about that. Human, Kubara, and then he finds out he has demon blood or he has demon ancestry. But when it comes to Hiei, which is a favorite of the Yu Yu Hakusho show, he was ousted from his community when he was a little jit, when he was a baby, because he was born to a community where it was just all women. And they say in the show that if they give birth to a male child, it means that one of the women slept with or had sex with a human. So I'm like, well, damn, is he human then? He should be half human. Then his mom, that was the reason why, he had to be thrown over the cliff. And people miss that. Or maybe I didn't see it right. I didn't hear it right. But I'm pretty sure they had to get rid of him, Hiei, because his mom had sex with a human. So if you're going to have sex, I mean, I don't know if he busted a nut, but I think he's half human. Him and his sister. But that's a theory. You know what I'm saying? That's a theory. Just a theory. Pokemon, how they have mob bosses like Giovanni, like they obviously, I don't know if he looks more like a mob boss than a yakuza, but he's definitely like Giovanni. That's an Italian name, so I'm pretty sure he was based off like a say a boss of a a mafia family or something like that. See, they throw this stuff in there. Even Mew. You know about Mew, right? The legendary Pokemon. He's another thing that ties back to the whole Egyptian thing, like this Mew creature. You know what I'm saying? I guess he's the progenitor of all the Pokemon. All the Pokemon come from Mew, right? But in this Pokemon franchise, they took Mew's DNA and did a genetic engineering and created Mewtwo. And this was at the later part of the 90s. See, and a lot of people don't understand why you think they put that out there. Why you think they did that? Because in the late 90s, that's when they started really ramping up their genetic projects, like the Human Genome Project and all that stuff, right? With the Dolly sheep where they clone the sheeps or whatever. Of course, this is something new, but it's the fact that this is something that became public knowledge, and now they created a game and a cartoon and all this stuff based on what was going on in the 90s, the early 2000s, with this whole cloning thing. They'll put it in your media, they'll put it in your TV shows. Trust me. Said Berserk. Yeah, there's another one, Berserk. What's his name in Berserk? Guts or something like that. That's another one y'all can watch. Said humans may not need to be destroyed because this is the schooling grounds to evolution, but focus should be directed back to personal apotheosis. Yeah, but everybody ain't gonna go for apotheosis in their lifetime, not this lifetime. And we're not all here to do the same thing. Because if so, we all would be attracted to this stuff here that we talking about in the occult, and everyone would be doing it. But I get what you're saying, though. He said, and the main character of Yu Yu Hakusho reminds me of Jin from Tekken. Yeah, I can see the connection there. When he thought he was all good, but had the devil Jin gene and could defeat the boss after he found out. Yes, right. So you see kind of like the same tropes or whatever. Like it's this, character who, he finds out after fighting all these and killing all these demons that he was a demon the whole time. That type of thing. But then I'll have to ask you, well, what exactly is a demon? What's a demon? What is that? Can anyone out there tell me like what it is? What is really a demon? Because I know these shows, like these, the Yu Yu Hakusho's and your Inuyashas, and you know what I'm saying, even the Tekken thing. Like, they give you an idea of what it is, but do you know what it is? And then for any women out there watching, I know y'all love the Sailor Moon cartoon because that used to come out, or it used to come on when Dragon Ball Z went off or something like that. The whole Sailor Moon. Actually, the creator, the woman that created Sailor Moon, and the creator of Yu Yu Hakusho are married, so they're husband and wife. So I thought that was kind of awesome and kind of cool, because Sailor Moon had the women, the chicks in there, so they was doing what they do. I just remember, it came on, on TV after Dragon Ball or before Dragon Ball Z or whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, these are my childhood anime files. I know you have some too. Name me some anime. Let's talk about it. What did you see in the anime that people it just went over their head? You know what I mean? One thing, like getting back to One Punch Man, like with a Saitama, the bald guy, bald superhero, like his challenge is not in the fact that he has to fight enemies. His challenge, what I saw, was his fight for recognition because he never really gets credit for destroying, like keeping the peace and destroying these monsters or whatever. He never gets credit for it. And then they have this thing called the Hero Association within One Punch Man, where you can sign up for this association and become a hero, like an actual, like that could be your profession. You become a hero, and then they have ranks, like they have C class, B class, A class, and S class. Obviously, Saitama is beyond S class type of person, but he has to go through this challenge of getting recognized for it and go up these ranks. So, but I pay attention to the web comic that they have out. So by now he's like reaching up into the upper A class. You know what I'm saying? But when you watch the anime, the first season, he's C class, but he can kill and destroy everybody on the show. Like he's unstoppable. So the challenge is not in him fighting anybody, it's the challenge of getting recognized and getting appreciated for all that you do. You know what I'm saying? Said a demon is a daemon, meaning power to me. Okay, I'm glad that you said daemon or daemon, because that's more rooted, because demon is a modern term, daemon is a more ancient one. So I'm glad you brought that one up. Says self-isolated and self-sufficient consciousness. Okay. Annoyed at most by the folly of the plane and always grounded and focused on true intent of Godhood. I'm glad that that's what you do. Said the author of Yu Yu Hakusho did Hunter x Hunter. Yep, he did. So much so that the four main characters of Hunter x Hunter are a direct match to these four people right here. So you got Gon, Killua, Leorio, Karapika. That's how he ain't even changed nothing up. It's the same, you know what I'm saying? It's the same. Togoro. Who's better? Togoro? Like I ain't gonna say who's better. I'm gonna say who do you like better? Togoro or Sensui? I gotta go with Togoro. Because Togoro was only a villain as in a functional sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, because his whole thing was trying to get Yusuke to reach his full potential. As I watch some of these videos on YouTube where they go into these debates about, what's the better saga, the Dark Tournament saga or the Chapter Black saga, and then they just shit on the Three Kings saga. That's where, how you gonna shit on that saga? Like that's where Ryzen is. You know what I'm saying? So Ryzen is the strongest creature or being in that Yu Yu Hakusho world. It's okay. You like Shinobu? Okay, you like Sensui? Well, I like Togoro. You know what I'm saying? Because that whole thing with Togoro and Genkai, like that was a real deep story. That was more of like the deeper parts of that tournament arc. You know what I mean? Said Togoro's million years in hell is the Taoist hell. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that. Because I had a theory that, I don't know if you want to, you can shit on it if you want to, but I just got this theory that Togoro purposely wanted to go to hell so he can train. Because he's a person that never stops training. He's always trying to grow stronger and more powerful. And I'm like, well, what if he went there to train? Like, what if he went there to master that hell? I don't know. It's a crazy fan theory, I know, but that's something I like to. And then we got to talk about this whole thing of blackface, whiteface, and all this stuff, because nowadays they have these live action adaptations where they changing the ethnicity of the character or whatever. Like for example, with Cowboy Bebop, like they brought in a dude from Luke Cage, the dude that played Bushmaster, the black guy, the Mustafa guy, and they made the what's his name, the older guy in Cowboy Bebop. You know what I'm saying? And people got upset about that. You know what I'm saying? But again, they've been making a lot of these Japanese characters white for these, movies or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that whole thing, even going beyond the anime, like the whole Little Mermaid thing where they making her black or whatever. And then you start to really see the racism come out. It's not that it wasn't there. It's just now you did something for it to come out. You know what I'm saying? What That's the first way to make someone hate you or bring out their racism is to change the ethnicity of a character to black. That's how you bring out their racism. Hold on, what you say? Um, I identify the daemons as the infernal aspects of Godhead and or the malefic thoughts of God, those who present resistance, pressure, or challenges which facilitate strength. Okay, acceptable. Said hell training the DU will refine his demonic powers even further. Yeah, that's why I thought Tagoro was doing that. And in a way, he is Genkai, and Genkai is Tagoro. Like, they're basically the same thing. That's what I liked about that. It's like, it was really like the same type of character. It was the same. They were fully super duper trained, serious, you know what I'm saying? Serious about martial arts. They were, you know what I mean? Okay, so which one of the Dragon Ball Z sagas? Because I already told you, I go with the Majin Buu saga, or the Buu saga. Some of y'all like Frieza or in Cell a little bit more, but I like the Majin Buu one because he was turning people into cookies and cakes and candy. Like you ain't even got like check this out. You ain't gotta fight this guy. You just gotta turn him into a cookie and you got him. You don't have to fight him. Because it's the idea of something that is beyond your comprehension, like it's beyond your belief or understanding. Like you just turned this dude into a big ass bar of chocolate and ate him. You know what I'm saying? This is different from getting your ass kicked by Frieza or Cell. I'm like, nah, this pink blob just turns you into ice cream. It's so ridiculous, but it's like, hey, what if something exists out there? I don't know. You don't know. Maybe it's hiding. May nobody wake him up yet. Maybe it's hiding inside of you. Say, I gotta go back and watch Dragon Ball Z now. I thought, didn't you already watch it? Because I'm pretty sure everybody here done seen Dragon Ball Z. How come you ain't watched it? You need to go watch it. How they say Frieza is like the ultimate racist because he calls the Saiyans monkeys or whatever. He always calling them monkeys. Like, do y'all watch the Anime House by the RDC World one? I haven't seen all of those. Like, they have the Anime House where they, act as these different characters from anime, and then they like, they make a whole video out of it or whatever. It's kind of cool stuff I watch. Said Boo Saga Majin Vegeta was got me too hype. And also, if a lot of us look at our palms, you may see a M um, connect to the being of born a Mason or alchemist. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I got it on mine too, a little lightly. You can see it a little bit. There's a nice addition there. And then going to Hunter x Hunter, Hunter x Hunter or Hunter x Hunter, they have this system called Nen. Do you know about the Nen system? ENN or no, NEN. So it's this spiritual system where you can activate your Nadi channels in your body or whatever, and you can like, go through certain trainings or initiations to activate this latent power within you, a Nen system. So that's what really makes, I would say, Hunter x Hunter real popular because of that Nen system. So depending on what you are and how you do your training or whatever, you can develop these Nen powers, these Nen abilities. And again, You already know about nadis and the Sushumna and the Ida and the Pingala and the spine and you know what I'm saying, these spiritual arteries and veins or nerves within you that you can, you know, tap into or whatever and start doing some stuff you never thought you could do. Again, every you know, I don't know like if it's just it's entertainment for some people. That's not entertainment to me. That's me getting the clues on how to do this stuff. Even if it's not totally accurate, it's the fact that it's being mentioned. Because then you can go verify the accuracy of it by doing your research or, you know what I'm saying, doing what you do. So if you develop your nin, you can do some wild stuff out here, some ill stuff out here. You know what I'm saying? You can control other people. You can make things appear, manifest right in front of your face. Like there's so many things you could do depending on the type of nin that you're dealing with or that you have or whatever. You know what I mean? Wicked City. Oh, see, do you know about Wicked City? You don't know nothing about no damn Wicked City. I can look it right in your face. You don't know nothing about that. Wicked City, my. Oh. I'ma just spoil it for you. I ain't gonna tell you the story, but they do some what's the porn category called where there's more men, there's like three men to a woman type of thing. I don't know what that's called in porn categories or worlds, but somehow these Japanese dudes got together and said, "Hey, let's draw this, let's animate this, and put it in a cartoon." It's mind blowing shit. It's crazy. Like the John that she like her legs and her legs and arms look like spider legs, and she be crawling around like a spider, and she shoot web out of her vagina. Crazy stuff. Said Majin Buu and various Boos aligned to the Ishu Alegba and his shape shifting abilities also same exact head shape. Okay. I mean that's and even in something like that, I'm like, well, I know they looking beyond their Japanese mythology for a lot of this stuff too, because even in Pokemon, like there's the Jewish thing with the Behemoth and the Leviathan, like the Kyogre and the Groudon. And then they have the Z's, which is supposed to be the ZIS is supposed to be the Rayquaza dragon or whatever. So I know that they look beyond their own Japanese mythology to create these stories. Like for example, Yu-Gi-Oh is based on the whole ancient Kemet thing or Egyptian thing, right? And I know a lot of them also deal with Greek mythology too, especially in Yu Yu Hakusho. They definitely deal with that. So these you know what I'm saying, like them studying outside their own culture and then creating these new shows or whatever. So it's like, oh, that's why it kind of resonates with me because they kind of took from a culture that I'm supposed to be tied to. You know, that's why it resonates, whether it's Japanese drawn or not. You know what I mean? Because like when I got older, when you know trying to understand the Exodia character, it's like, yo, that's Osiris right there. That's Asar. That's the Osiris. You got to put his pieces back together again. And then he has like the pharaoh's, you know, crown or the headdress or whatever. The blue eyes, white dragon. The red eyes, black dragons. What else is in the Yu-Gi-Oh? The Jinzo. What else? The Summon Skull. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Trap cards. What if your spiritual energy could flow through that, like your psi or your prana or your chi or whatever you want to call it, your ashe, your obi, whatever you want to call it, And then you can do stuff with the damn cards. The damn cards. What's that new one? What's it called? Jujutsu Kaisen? Is that, am I saying it right? Jujutsu Kaisen? It's a newer anime. I've seen it on HBO Max. Like how this nigga ate a finger, a demon's finger, and now the demon lives with him. So they switch back from human to demon or whatever. Just like the whole Devilman thing. Kind of reminds me of Devilman. And the demon entities in that show are called curses, right? So like you can control and manipulate curses, or you can, you know what I'm saying, you know how they do it, like with demons and controlling them or whatever. I thought that was an interesting thing to kind of add the idea of curses inside of that. That's pretty interesting. Now, getting back to the Dragon Ball Z, I'm switching between animes if you haven't noticed. Now, Dragon Ball, the whole thing about Goku, Vegeta, Raditz, Nappa, all of them, you know, Brawly being these entities that have these tails. They have tails. They were born with these tails, and from through that tail, if they see a full moon, they turn into this like big ass gorilla like wolf like gorilla like creature when the moon is full, like some werewolf shit, right? Now, I know some people in the black community was sitting here accusing people of being born with tails or whatever, but I'm like, yo, would you want to be born with a tail or whatever? Because when the moon get full, you can turn into, you know what I'm saying, a kaiju or something like that, like a monster, a beast of beastly proportions out here. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder, would you have wanted been born with a tail? Like, would it bother you if you was born with a tail or whatever? Said Bleach. Okay, yeah, Bleach. I haven't watched Bleach yet. Someone recommended me that I watch that. Isn't that where he's like a reaper in that show, or that they're like reapers? Oh, what's another one? I seen Tokyo Ghoul. You know about Tokyo Ghoul? That show was interesting for the first season. I didn't really particular like. I didn't like later seasons like that. I don't know. They just kind of changed up the formula. But Tokyo Ghoul is that first season of Tokyo Ghoul. That's interesting. Tokyo Ghoul, where he's a damn near a cannibal, like where you turn into a cannibal. So now only human flesh is delicious to you. You don't like regular human food no more. You like Philly cheesesteaks and pizza and Chinese food and, you know what I'm saying, burgers and stuff like that. All that becomes disgusting to you when you become a ghoul. Like even the thought of like putting a hamburger, or even if some of you vegan people, like you want to put like a vegan hamburger in your mouth, not when you're a ghoul, you'll throw that right up and it'll be disgusting to you. Because now all you want is human flesh. You want to eat people now. And so the main character, he had to fight that. Like he was on the struggle of, you know, do I, go hungry and drink coffee? Or do I go out there and eat me some people? It's a dilemma. Because if you're not human anymore, do you have to follow human morality? Like, take somebody like Thanos, for example, going to the MCU. I know it's off topic. And they sit here and try to judge, was Thanos right in snapping his fingers and, collecting the stones? But I'm like, well, Thanos ain't a human. So why would you put him in a human morality in that parameter? Like this is a creature or being beyond the earth. So why would he follow your human morality? So going back to Tokyo Ghoul, that's what I'm saying. Like, you are now at the top of the food chain. You get to eat people now. So I mean, why would it be a problem for you to eat people? It ain't like you eating them to the point where they're becoming extinct, like humans do with fish and all that stuff. Like, no, you get to eat the people now. You don't even cook them up or nothing. You just eat them right there on the spot. Like the Komodo dragon, it just eat the deers and the goats. Well, they don't even wait for it to die. It just eat all its intestines and its stomach and its gallbladder while the deer is still alive. Is that wrong? Because if the Komodo dragon, he gonna starve. How you gonna sit here and be like, oh, well, he can't starve, but you get mad when how he eat? Don't get mad at me how I eat. If I want to eat with my fork like this instead of like this, that's none of your business. But I'm getting off topic. Which y'all wrote here said Attack on Titan. Well, I'm asking y'all, like, I watched some of Attack on Titan, but I was asking y'all out there, like, what's so special about it? Like, why should I watch Attack on Titan? Said, watch One Piece and study Zero's journey. Okay, I'm gonna get into One Piece. Okay, cool. Because I watched a couple, I think I watched the first episode where he's fighting that fat woman pirate or whatever. I seen that one. Said Attack on Titan is another show against primordial energy, but it's very good. I had to watch it from a devil's advocate perspective, but it's a good show. But books are still more elevating. Yeah, so you one of those people. Like some of y'all out there is like, no, don't watch the anime. You gotta read the manga. I don't have time. Give me the show so I can watch the show and go where I'm doing. No, I understand because I'm a writer. So it's like if I wrote something and then they made a film or a cartoon off of it, I would want you, the consumer, to also go read the book. So I get what you're saying. I was just joking. Because some people are like that. They don't feel like doing all that reading. They just want to watch stuff and that's it for them. Like even with Yu Yu Hakusho, like everything in that manga is not in the animated cartoon or show. So that first um string of events where Yusuke, before he gets back into his physical body to become the detective, the spiritual detective or spirit detective, he goes on this journey of helping all these people, in the manga, but they cut that out for the cartoon though, for the anime. You know what I'm saying? So all that is not in the anime. And some of these anime done lost their damn mind, like the Dragon Ball. You know what I'm saying? I don't watch Dragon Ball Super or none of that. I don't know what any of that is about. You know what I'm saying? Is it worth a watch? As a person that used to watch this stuff in the 90s, like is it worth watching Dragon Ball Super and whatever the other thing was or whatever? Because they never bought the motherfucking movies for us. You know those movies that are in between the Dragon Ball Z sagas, like Brawly, Cooler. You know what I'm saying? I never seen those. Because Cooler that's Frieza's brother, right? And Brawly is Goku's brother or whatever. But they do have this. I don't know if you've seen it. It's called Legend. It's like a fan remake of Dragon Ball Z. It's a short video. It's like maybe like 12 minutes long, and it's an artist from Canada who recreated the show. And it has Vegeta, Goku, Brawly, Chi Chi, all them in there. Okay, so we have a confirmation. You do not recommend Dragon Ball Super. Cool. So I ain't watching it then. Oh, you retracted your statement. Okay. But yeah, that's what I wanted to come here and talk to y'all about. Like I said, I want to keep having these videos on, Japanese anime and the OVA thing. So that we can kind of, what I'm saying, unpack this stuff. Like I don't know if you're into spirituality or occult or esoteric studies or whatever. But like I said, I noticed that, even shows like this, it's all in there. You know what I mean? Like Kuwabara, like he develops his spirit sword. And I always say, like, he's the samurai of the group, he's the gunslinger, he's the assassin, and he is the herbalist. You know what I'm saying? So he fights with honor. This nigga, he'll just shoot. He's like Clint Eastwood. He's like Sundance and the Butch Kid. He got the gun. He's shooting. You know what I'm saying? You say something else out of pocket, the toolie is coming out, and not nothing made of metal. It's him shooting his spiritual energy at you. Spirit shotgun. We doing spirit shotguns now. We ain't doing the little pistol no more. We doing the spirit shotgun on people. He said Dragon Ball Super is essentially them going cosmic. They have a lot more god characters, okay, with angels basically Crowley inspired holy guardian angel, hints such as Beerus. Okay, I know about Beerus. He's like that purple looking cat dog thing looking thing, right? I be seeing him. You know what I'm saying? I just never watched the show. Whoever got their Pokemon card stolen? You ever got your Pokemon card stolen, or you like the Pokemon Blue and Red? You ever got that stolen? Because I mentioned this earlier in the video. Somebody stole my Pokemon cards when I was in middle school. He did a snatch and run on me and shit. You know what I'm saying? He did a snatch and run on my ass. I didn't want to live anymore because you know what card he stole from me? A holographic Alakazam. Because Alakazam is like one of my favorite Pokemon because he looked like a, it's that Baphomet thing going on with him. And then he got the spoons and he do psychic powers and they say he got the intelligence of a computer of a 5,000 IQ. So somebody got me for my Pokemon holographic card. That shit could sell for like $500. You get the right buyer. You know what I'm saying? But tables turn, and then I wind up here's a story, a quick story. One of my friends who, he was always in and out of jail and in alternative school. He stole a binder of Pokemon cards from this Mexican kid, right? Now the Mexican kid, he rides my bus, but I'm friends with the criminal guy. So the criminal guy, he let me hold the cards because he wasn't going to be home. So he said, I'm gonna give you this binder. So I'm sitting on the school bus flipping through the binder with all these Pokemon cards, real good cards, holographic cards. So the Mexican kid looks over at me. It's like, yo, that's my binder. And I'm like, how's this your binder? Like, I got this from my friend, my criminal friend. He's like, but your criminal friend stole it from me. But I'm like, okay, I mean, that, does that mean I gotta give it back to you? Because he gave it to me. Like, you gotta talk to him. That don't mean I'm about to give you your binder. Like, should I have given his binder back? Because we talking holographic cards, page to page. And then again, this is the era where they were stealing Pokemon cards. They were stealing everything. And he let me hold it. And this kid over here said, "Oh, that's mine." Because that's just like if you stole, like if you bought a stolen TV from like a booster, right? Or no, you just like or it could just be a car. You bought a car and you came across the guy that the car was stolen from, but you paid cash money. You paid like $5,000. So does that mean I got to give you your car back? Well, how do I get compensated for my $5,000? Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about, man. I wonder if any of y'all, if you're gonna watch this later or whatever, let me know. Like, tell me some more anime stuff, like stuff that people, if you watch anime, like some things to see within that anime. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me know. Like, put it in the comments if you're gonna watch this later, or if you're watching this now and then you're gonna come back to this video. Because there's a lot of stuff we can like get from that and kind of learn some stuff, like the Reiki stuff. You know what I'm saying? From Yu Yu Hakusho. Because they like to make Reiki this whole female thing where it's only women supposed to do that. It's like, no, I seen him do some Reiki stuff, so now I'm inspired to want to do it now, sis. So, you know, that type of thing. But anyway, man, this is Alex Will 64. Like I said, we're gonna do more of these videos, but check out the rest of my catalog here on the Wholography channel, and ether-ins.teachable.com, where you get my courses on all this stuff that we talking about. And like I said, I'll catch y'all some other time, and we're gonna go deep into the OVA, that anime that never made it to syndication, the anime, the underground anime, not the stuff that's on UPN and Toonami and Netflix. I think Devilman is the closest thing to what we're gonna get into, because you can watch Devilman on Netflix. But check it out. Check this out. You know what I'm saying? Your smile makes my heart explode.